All right. What is going on, everybody? I know it is early in the day today. Um, just a little bit after 1 o'clock here, Central Standard Time. I know that it is maybe Eastern Standard Time for many, a little bit after 2, but definitely wanted to come on today, go live, and talk about what the gospel teaches businesses. What does the gospel teach businesses? So that's actually going to be our discussion for today. So I just want to come on here and just give everybody an opportunity just to get some time to um, populate the room. Just populate the room um, as we want to begin this candid conversation. But again, we're talking about what the gospel teaches businesses. And so I just want to have a candid conversation with you guys to really say, what does an understanding of the gospel help business owners, help entrepreneurs learn about how we should go about and how we present products, how we create services for our target audience and for the customers that we're seeking to benefit. And so that's what I really want our conversation to be about and deal with today, right? And so I know it's a little bit early on, but I'm gonna just give a second, give a while to see if some people are able to populate the room, and then we're definitely going to go from there. Now, I just want to give you guys just a little update on what's going on with me and kind of what me and my wife have been working on and building on over the last couple weeks. For many of you, if you don't know, we're really seeking to build this community called Tent Makers 101. It is a community for those who specifically are looking to forward the everlasting gospel to all the world, who are looking to use their business, their entrepreneurial endeavors, their gifts, their talents, right, in order to able to share that everlasting gospel with the world. And so we're building a community where we'll be able to connect with one another, where we'll be able to share with one another and be able to build each other up in order that we may grow our businesses and able to foster collaboration and growth, and even to be able to create strategic partnerships in order to work with one another so that we can see the growth that we really should see, especially for our businesses. And that's exactly what we're seeking and wanting to do. Now, I'm seeing that you guys are coming on now, and I'm glad you're able to come and populate the room again. Today, our discussion is going to be on what the gospel teaches businesses. We're talking about what the gospel teaches businesses. If you're on, let me know where you guys are watching from, where you're joining the live from. You guys can just let me know in the comments, and we'll definitely want to just give a shout out to you guys as you're coming in and populating the room to be able to discuss and have this conversation. Now, I'm seeing right now, I'm actually using StreamYard to stream both to YouTube. If you aren't a subscriber to the YouTube channel, definitely do so. You can find me at Lionel Mosby Jr., just like that on YouTube. That's where I'm placing a lot of the videos as we're having a discussion about biblical entrepreneurship. So if you're interested in hearing more about biblical entrepreneurship, if you're interested in how to turn your business into your ministry, then definitely follow me there. We're going to have way more conversations about this and really use the scriptures and show how the scriptures are going to teach us these exact things. But right now I'm streaming through StreamYard, and for some reason I'm not able to see the comments on Facebook for some reason. So if anybody can help me to figure out how exactly I'm able to be able to view the comments from Facebook, because I want to be able to share you guys comments as you guys are coming in and we're having that conversation. So let me see if I can change that right now. But again, let me know where you guys are watching from, where you guys are tuning in from, and what interests you even to kind of join this conversation on what the gospel teaches businesses. What what kind of grabbed your attention to even make you say, I want to see what this conversation is about. I want to see what Lionel, what is Lionel talking about with the gospel and what it teaches businesses. Let me see. I'm really not understanding why I cannot. Watching from Texas, watching from Hawaii. Man, Justin, you out in the great state of Hawaii. We had a friend that actually just came back from their honeymoon from Hawaii, and they was telling us about. I'm like, I need to go to Hawaii. Okay, that's the only thing I could think about is I need to go to Hawaii, right? And you're in Hawaii. Oh my goodness, I know you got to be enjoying that, man. Are you there for work or for pleasure? Because if you're there for work, it may change the dynamics a little bit, right? If you're actually there for work, but if you're there for pleasure, then, hey, more power to you. But definitely appreciate you joining us all the way here from Hawaii. And I see we also got somebody. Are you living in Hawaii now? Wow, that's amazing. That's awesome. Man, I heard it is so beautiful. They really take care of the area and of the land there. I heard that it's really, really awesome. Took a roll out there. That's awesome, man. Actually, Brandon that I follow on Bigger Pockets actually also moved to Hawaii as well. And so now he's running his operation from the Big Island, as they call it, right? Out there too. So I guess maybe it's a thing, you know what I mean? People moving out to Hawaii. So, for sure, I definitely will be taking my lovely wife to Hawaii sometime soon so we can get out there and enjoy. But thank you for tuning in as well, man. I appreciate it. Hope. All right. Sorry, I saw my camera kind of shut out there. But life has many problems. Life has many problems, right? What are some problems that you can think of that life throws at us, right? For some, we see we drive in Houston. We're living in Houston, Texas, and one thing we see downtown is we see homelessness, right? We see homelessness everywhere we go, right? And so that's a problem that comes up in life, right? There are other individuals, right, that you see as you drive around different cities. Justin's in Hawaii. As you drive around Hawaii, one thing I know that you have to have out there is you got to have some type of health clinic or hospital. You know why? Why we have to have hospitals, why we have to have clinics is because a problem that comes in with life is disease, right? Is physical ailments, right? Sickness. Life brings that type of problem, right? Another thing that we see many times is we see individuals that have anxiety, right? People that have various fears, right? And so because of their process of life and the things that they've been through, they have even mental problems, right? And we see life has so many problems. Life has so many problems, right? But this statement says the gospel is a wonderful simplifier of life's problems. Think about that. The gospel, right? We're talking about the gospel message of Jesus Christ is a wonderful simplifier of life's problems. Now, I want us to look at a couple scriptures, right, as we lay our foundation today. And we're talking again, the discussion is about what the gospel teaches businesses. That's what our discussion is about. It's what the gospel teaches businesses. But in order to understand what the gospel teaches businesses, we have to go and peer into the gospel and its purpose, right? So when we think about Genesis chapter 3, right? I want to read a couple verses in Genesis chapter 3. We're going all the way back to the beginning, of time. And we want to look at this story of Adam and Eve after they have eaten of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, right? What was the result, right? What was the result? After God came, he said, hey, Adam and Eve went and hid, right? God is saying, why are you hiding? Adam says, look, I heard your voice walking in the cool of the day, and so I hid myself because I was naked, right? Who told you was naked? So look, this is what Jesus tells to Adam, right? In verse 17, Genesis chapter 3, verse 17, it says, unto Adam, he said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife and have eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat of it, right? Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Now, let's continue. Thorns, verse 18, also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face you shall eat your bread, till you return unto the ground. For out of it were you taken, for dust you are, and unto dust you shall return. What is God telling Adam? When God created Adam and Eve, he made them to live forever. They were supposed to live forever. They were literally never supposed to experience death. They were never supposed to experience the loss of life. Adam and Eve were never even supposed to understand seasons. What do I mean? They were never supposed to see leaves falling off of trees because they were dying. They were never supposed to experience that, right? But they had to experience that because why? What was the initial problem? Sin. Sin entered into the world, right? So sin is the cause, right? Sin is the cause. Death is a result, right? So one of life's problems, right? One of the problems that we have in this life is sin. It is actually a cause, right? It is a cause. Another problem that we have in this life is death, right? Death is a result of the original cause, right? But it's a problem that life presents. Because remember, we're thinking for anyone who's just coming in and tuning in, we're thinking about this quote that said, the gospel is a wonderful simplifier of life's problems, right? Well, life presents problems that both have causes and effects, right? Sin is a cause, death is an effect, right? Now, when we talk about the gospel, it was introduced, right? Now, obviously, we know that God, nothing takes God by surprise. And so in his immutable counsel, he already understood what was going to happen, and he was already prepared for the issue. But I want you to understand that when God introduced the gospel to Adam and Eve in Genesis chapter 3, verse 15, when he introduced it unto them, he introduced it unto them in order to solve a problem. That's why God introduced it. He introduced it in order to solve a problem, and the gospel actually solves both the cause of life's problems and effects that come from the cause of life problems. The gospel does both. The gospel both solves the cause and the effect of the problems, the issues that are now involved in life. And do we know that that's true? What is the result of the gospel? Well, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 tells us that the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. Why is death destroyed? Because death is one of life's problems. Death. Have you experienced that? We understand that our life is finite, right? We are going to die. As long as the earth continues, right? Death will be a part of humanity's reality, right? It doesn't matter. Young, old, everybody will go through a process where they will end in death. Why? Because that is part of the problem that life presents into us. But the gospel is given to actually solve life's problems. It solves us the problem. How? By first addressing the cause of the problem. It addresses sin itself. The Lamb of God came to take away the sin of the world, we're told. And then after sin is put away, it deals with the result of the sin, which is death. Death is destroyed. There will be no more death. We're told in Revelation, right? Let me read it into your hearing. Revelation chapter 21 in verse 4. Let us see the end of the gospel, right? The end of this gospel that is given. In verse 4 it says, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. There shall be no more sorrow, no more crying. Neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. What are life's problems? Pain is a problem of life. Crying and sorrow are problems from life, right? Death is a problem that comes from life. But these problems are solved by the gospel. They're solved by the gospel. So now I want you to understand, right? Let's get a little bit more granular, right? Because when you think about life's problems, death is a problem and sin is the cause. But now in between, there's all other sorts of things that have come to life because of the problems that life presents. And guess what? The reality is the gospel, when we truly understand the gospel solves all these problems. They solve all of them, right? But let's get granular and think more in depth, right? And if you can think of any problem, I want you to just put whatever problem you can think of that life presents, just put it in the chat, right? Just put it in the chat, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're watching on Facebook, just put it in the chat, right? What are some problems that you can think about? I'm not even asking you to say what are problems that the gospel solves. I'm just asking you what are life problems, what are problems that are presented to humanity in life, because the reality is the gospel solves those problems. The gospel solves life's problems. You don't even have to tell me the problems that gospel solves, because it solves every problem, right? When we truly understand it. But let's get granular. Lack of nutrition is a problem, right? It's a problem that the gospel solves. Think about it. When the gospel completes its work, when the gospel is finished and done, will there be lack of nutrition? No, we're told, matter of fact, in Revelation, that the leaves of the nations will be for the healing of the people. That we're gonna be able to eat of the 12 manner of fruits that come from the tree of life. That lack of nutrition will no longer be a problem when the gospel is done, right? But lack of nutrition is a problem that life presents. What about poverty, right? Poverty is a problem of life. It's presented to us in life. There are many people who are in poverty, right? But will the gospel solve that? Oh, matter of fact, Jesus tells us that he has already prepared mansions for us, for every single person who desires to have one. He has it for poverty would be done away. There would be no more need, right? No more lack. Oh, obesity, which is an issue of health, right, is a problem. But guess what? God will have everyone in perfect health, right, when the gospel completes its work. We're told in 1 Corinthians 15 that we're going to receive new glorified bodies, right? So the gospel solves that problem. You talk about hair loss or whatever you can think about, right? These are all problems of life. And the gospel solves every single one of them. But why, Lionel, you still haven't told me how the gospel teaches, right? how the gospel teaches businesses. No, I actually have told you what the gospel teaches businesses. What the gospel is teaching us is that, let me say it this way. The bigger the problem we solve is the greater the value we have. The bigger the problem we solve is the greater the value we have, right? Your product, your service, right? Your business, whatever it does, it is valuable depending upon the problem that it solves. This is what makes the gospel so valuable. This is what makes the blood of Jesus so valuable, is because of the problem. It's the gospel. Christ's blood literally solves every single problem you can think of. That's why it's so valuable. That's why it is the most valuable. But now, in your work that God has given you specifically, your product, your service, you have to ask yourself the question, what problem does my business solve? And the bigger the problem, the bigger the value. The smaller the problem, the smaller the value. But the reality is, life has so many problems for us to solve. The reality is, pick one, choose one, and determine what are you going to solve. For example, we talked about the lack of nutrition, the end result. And this is why every true business is a gospel business. It's a gospel business. Every true entrepreneur is a biblical entrepreneur, because entrepreneurs solve problems, right? So think about it. Lack of nutrition is a problem, right? That is a problem of life. The lack of nutrition. So when we're thinking about the problem of the lack of nutrition that the gospel ultimately will solve, right? When Jesus puts all things right under his feet and then delivers it to the Father. But now today in this life, you may say, I'm going to start a business that raises food that is the most nutritious that it can possibly be on earth in this world of sin. So that individuals who lack nutrition have an opportunity to get access to more nutritious foods. What are you doing? You're helping to solve a problem that this life presents. Or you may be one that says, well, I'm not going to grow the nutritious food, but you know what I can do? I'm going to teach how people can combine their foods so that they can get the most nutrition out of the foods that they already have available to them. I'm going to go about teaching people how to do that, how to combine their foods together in the best way possible so that, guess what? It can solve the problem that they're having, that they're not getting enough nutrition based on how they're going about eating, drinking, etc. Right? Is that a problem that life presents that many people don't even have an understanding of what the best way to do these things is? Of course it is. And so your service would be to teach people how to combine foods properly, right? We talked about poverty, right? Poverty is a problem that the gospel ultimately will solve and do away with, okay? But today in life, you may say there's many people in poverty because they don't understand how to use credit. They don't understand how to leverage credit. And I'm going to have a service, right? I'm going to put together some products that can be a blessing to those individuals, right? To help them to uplift themselves out of their impoverished state, out of the impoverished state of thinking, acting, doing, right? Out of the way that they're using their income, right? Out of the way that they're handling their finances. I'm going to do that for them. That's what my service, that's what my product is going to be. What are you doing? You're solving a problem of life, right? There are many people, right, who need to understand budgeting. And you may say, I don't want to deal with credit, but what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to get really granular, right, and help them how to really put together a tight budget, right? So that month by month, they really understand what they have coming in and what they have going out. That way they can start seeing and making more better financial decisions because they have a better understanding of their financial position. You may say, that's what I'm going to do, because that's the service, right, that I'm going to bring to those who need that. Because guess what? There's a problem that I see. I'm going to help solve it. It doesn't matter what you do. It could be hair loss, right? So I'm going to have a salon that gives styles that make those who are losing hair in different ways, give them different options to be able to use, right, what God has still given them to still feel beautiful, to still feel like they look great, right? Or maybe I'm going to create something that actually can still make that hair that is starting to grow a little slower to pick up speed and grow at the same rate as the rest of the hair that's on their head. That's a product, that's a service that is solving a problem of life. And guess what? It doesn't matter what problem you name. The question, though, is for your business, what product, what problem are you solving? How does your product answer to an issue that individuals have in this life? How does your service answer to a problem that individuals have in this world? And if you can't think about what your product or what your service does, how it solves a problem, then we have to go back, one, to God in prayer, two, to the drawing board, right, to really think and figure out, who are we serving with our product or service? Who are we blessing? Who are we benefiting? What problem are we solving in this world? Because guess what? The greater the problem you solve is the greater the value your product, your service, your business has. It's the greater it has, right? And so this is what the gospel teaches businesses, right? The greatest problem in life is sin. It's the cause of all problems. The greatest result that comes as because of that sin, right? It says the wages of sin is death, right? And so death is the greatest cause, right? But in between those, there's all these other issues. And guess what? The gospel solves every single one of them. It solves the sin problem, it solves the death problem, and everything. And so the question is, for our business, right, what problem are we solving? We may be aiming at solving the cause of the poverty issue in the first place. Or maybe we're dealing with to address some of the results of what has come because of that cause. But at the end of the day, what problem are you solving? What problem are you solving? As an entrepreneur, we have to figure out what problem we are solving. Because guess what? A great business, right? A business with great value follows in the lines of the gospel, right? Following God's lines, right? And we conduct business how God conducts business. Because God is the greatest business owner this world has ever seen. He has put things in place, and they are still going from time and time, right? He understands all things. He understands everything, right? So we follow in his footsteps, right? And seek to do business the way he does business, right? So it doesn't matter, right, what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what lane you're in, right? There's enough issues for you to be able to provide value to those people in that area. Doesn't matter your business, doesn't matter your industry, doesn't matter your lane. Stay in your lane. And guess what? There can be multiple people in the same lane, multiple people in the same industry, because there's so many people, right, who have problems in this life and who need assistance, right, in various different ways, right? And again, there's so many problems, right, that you can name it. There's some people who need help seeing. And so you may create some new type of glasses, right, that never break, right? So we ain't got to take them in and get new whatever all the time, right? It doesn't matter, right? There's literally so many problems in this world. The question you have to ask, though, is what problem am I solving? So I thank you guys for joining in. I want to just see, man, anybody have any comments or any thoughts that they would like to share before we just close up for today? If anybody has any comments, any thoughts that they would like to share about what the gospel teaches businesses, I want to give you an opportunity to speak your piece. And again, I'm really apologize because I don't understand why my StreamYard is not allowing me. Okay, there we go. Now I'm able to see some of the comments as well. So, okay, so I'm able to put up some of the comments now. as you see. Okay, so we figured it out. The Lord has assisted us. So praise God for that. These are some of the older comments from before. But does anybody have anything they like to share? Any revelations, right, from today as we were talking about what the gospel teaches businesses? Again, I want to just give everybody an opportunity. Just give them a chance here for a second. I'll hold on. And matter of fact, as we're holding, and just to see and give you guys an opportunity to share, I want to tell you guys about what is in the works and what we're planning. Like I said, we have a group, Tent Makers 101. If you are a business owner, an aspiring business owner, if you have a gift or talent and you want to use it for God, but you don't understand how you're going to be self-sufficient and still do the ministry. Look, we have a group that is perfectly prepared for you to help those who are seeking to get the everlasting gospel out to all the world, to help to create a community, right, where we bond together, where we build each other up, right? And so we have some great things in the works and in plans that we're going to start doing, right, within the group and within the community. So we want to invite you to join the community, Tent Makers 101 here on Facebook. It is a Facebook group, and you can go ahead and just type that into Facebook, Tent Makers 101, and join us there. And we're going to seek to build one another up for growth, to foster growth and collaboration, strategic partnerships, so that all of us may grow our businesses. Because the more that we grow our businesses, the more reach that we have, the more people we can meet, the more people we can meet, the more people we can impact. And the more we're able to impact people is the more we're able to actually lead them, right, to the gospel of Jesus Christ, which will solve all of their problems, more than even our specific businesses solve on their behalf, right? Another thing I want to also let you guys know is we're going to be starting a podcast very, 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 very soon. It is called Lion and the Lambo. It is at Lion and the Lambo on Instagram. We're also Lion and the Lambo podcast here on Facebook as well. You can follow the page. We're going to be posting all of the podcasts to Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor, as well as YouTube as well. We will have the video podcast on as well, so you guys can see. And what we're talking about is biblical entrepreneurship, impact, and true success, right? We really want to attack this idea that, especially in many Christian circles, that you cannot, right? You cannot combine ministry and business. No, we got to get that out of our mind. We got to get it out of our mind that making money is the root of all evil. No, we got to get that out of our mind, right? And so we're going to be inviting other biblical entrepreneurs on who are in different industries, right? They're going to be telling their story. They're going to be explaining their business, what they're doing, right? The issues that they had with money, right? How they overcame, so that it can give you a game plan, right? And so that you can see what they did and see that success. You're able to be successful, right? And able to have an impact on your community through your product, through your service, through your business, right? And to really, I'm hoping to inspire other individuals who have gifts and talents to jump out into entrepreneurship, right, in your industry, in your field, so that you can be a blessing to your family and also be a blessing to the community as well as you minister through your business, right? And so again, that's at Lion and the Lambo on Instagram, at Lion and the Lambo podcast here on Facebook as well. And you need to follow my YouTube channel, Lionel Mosby Jr. That's where we're going to be posting all of the live actual video podcasts as well. You guys will be able to check that out. So we're going to be starting that up next month real soon. We already got a slew of awesome biblical entrepreneurs that we're going to be interviewing, man, in different spaces. And so I know you guys are going to really love and enjoy that as well, right? So I thank you for joining me again here as we just have our short conversation. Again, we're going to be seeking to go live as often as possible. I'm getting a better understanding of even my schedule. So I should very soon be able to know specific times that I'm going to be able to go live with you guys to be able to have these conversations. And so just be on the lookout for that, very, very soon. And yeah, man, make sure you tune in and make sure you go see what problem you're solving. Even if you're working somewhere, man, what problem are you solving as you're working wherever you're working, right? What problem are you solving as you're building your business? The bigger problem you solve, the bigger value you have. That's why the gospel has the most value. Holla at y'all.